Looking after a loved one living with dementia is it's a huge choice and one that comes with a lot of challenges. And in today's episode, we're going to continue our look at some tips that can facilitate your life as a caregiver and, of course, contribute to a more comfortable and safe environment for the person you're taking care of. Hi there, my name is Ed Humphrey and welcome to a brand new episode of About Townshippers. And this is a web series where we explore the different organizations and individuals that provide important support and services to English-speaking communities spread throughout Quebec's beautiful eastern townships. Carol Arbery is a licensed practical nurse. She teaches in the Health Assistance and Nursing Care program at the Lennoxville Vocation and Training Center. And for about 27 years, she worked in seniors care, and a lot of that time she spent actually working in Alzheimer's units. So understandably, in today's episode, we're going to continue our discussion where Carol shares with us some insight and some ideas, some suggestions on caring for loved ones living with dementia. Here we go. Now, I just had this thought, how about safety in the home? I mean, there's a lot of precautions we can take. There's a lot of things we can do. But can you maybe name, 2 or 3 things we can keep in mind or put into practice that we wouldn't really think about right off the top of our heads?
Okay, well, first of all, safety, you want to get the bracelet, so the Ansfig. So if your loved one happens to end up outside and get lost and can't get home, the Alzheimer's registry can make up the bracelet so that if the loved one is found, the address or phone number is right on there. Things inside the house, there's magnetic pieces that go on the door. So when the door opens, it beeps or buzzes to let you know that they're leaving the door. This could be put on a bedroom door for nighttime. It could be put on like the main doors, right? Also, maybe
in the bathroom, I saw is it a bath mat that goes in the tub?
Oh, yes. So sometimes people are afraid to get into the bathtub because it looks really deep. So if you were to place like a bath mat or not the bath mat, of course, but the bathtub rubber
liner or
in the bottom, then it doesn't look like the water's so deep and it might entice them to get in even better. Other safety issues is maybe chain locks on the doors, but instead of putting it at eye level, you'd want to put it higher or lower where they're not going to really pay much attention to. Also, under safety issues, there's medications. Very important that you put the medications away, out of sight, out of mind. If they're not taking their medications, you need to advise their doctor or at least the pharmacist, because maybe some of those medications could be given in a liquid form. Also, some medications can be crushed, but there's other medications that you cannot crush. Let's say medications that dissolve at different points, right, during the day. So if you were to crush them all, it's like you're giving a triple dose at that one time. So some medications cannot be crushed. You need to ask your pharmacist before if they're crushable or not. And if they are not, then the pharmacy might call the doctor and see if it can be given in a liquid form, if it's available. Also, there's patches that we like to put on the back because sometimes patches will cause itchy or an irritation, causing them to be itchy. And so they'll want to take them off. So by placing these patches on the client's back, they can't get to them. And also, if the patches are really annoying them, when you take them off, they're leaving a really red area. There is a spray, an inhaler spray with cortisone in it that could be applied before putting the patch on, which will help relieve from having this irritation. But again, it has to be the doctor that prescribes that. All right, you won't just get that over the pharmacy, but I do want you to know that exists. So instead of saying, oh, well, the patch irritates them too much, we don't want it anymore. All right, there's other ways around it.
Lots of tricks.
And, again, cigarettes and lighters, be very careful, hide them, put them away. There are smoking aprons. So if they drop their cigarette, it will not burn through. One of the big problems is those little throw rugs. Throw them out, get rid of them. Sometimes people shuffle, especially if somebody has Parkinson's at the same time. They have a shuffling gait. They don't actually pick up their feet. So you're going to hit that throw carpet and you're going to trip, right? So it causes falls. So it's really not a good idea to have that. One other thing that I can say maybe about safety issues too is if it's at the beginning stages and you're going to work and you're leaving your mom at home, but you're kind of afraid of maybe the stove being left on or whatever, find out where that breaker is downstairs in your breaker box and just write stove beside that breaker. And before you leave, just flick off the breaker while you're gone. Come home, flick it back on. It takes a second. And at least you have a clear peace of mind when you're gone that they're not going to harm themselves.
I'm gonna watch this video 3 or 4 times because these are all great ideas. I'm gonna send them out to
Your
my sister
sister.
who takes care of my mom. How about communication? I mean, communication plays a big part in our daily lives, whether it's between us and our television or us on our phone or whatever. Maybe just a minute or two on some suggestions that can make that easier?
Sure. So communicating with this type of a clientele, you want to get their attention. You do not want to walk up from behind them and say, "Hey, Ed," and scare them. So you'll want to come around and you'll want to look me in the eye or maybe rub my hand and say, "Good morning, how are you?" So get my attention before you start talking to me and scare me is always a good thing. And keep the sentences short. If you're going to rattle on about what you're going to do in your day, you might just annoy them and set them off. Never use words like remember. And don't argue with them. If they have something in their head, you're not going to change it. So don't even try. All right. There's a reason why they're ill. So don't even try arguing with them. And if we want to look at different behaviors too, sometimes like wandering. Why are they wandering? Do they have to go to the bathroom? Are they hungry? What are they looking for? So try and find out the reason why they're doing what they're doing. Sometimes they're suspicious because they put something somewhere and it's gone. Well, probably because they hid it somewhere and it's gone. But in their eyes, they're thinking that maybe you took it. So try just distraction. Like, oh, look at the bird, or try and find something like, oh, your favorite TV show's on. Let's go and watch that. So always try and stay calm and be reassuring. Try and guide them into something different.
So you got to be creative.
Very
That's a
creative.
polite way to say it.
Yes. Yes.
Creative and inventive, and maybe bending the truth a bit now and then, just to smooth things over, because they will
That's
likely
right.
forget anyways, right?
And that's one thing. Yeah, when you're in nursing, patients have the right to refuse. Yes, they do have the right to refuse, but at the same time too, it's like a baby. A baby doesn't want an injection, right? But we know if they don't have the injection, they're going to get really sick. Well, same as your Alzheimer's client, if they don't want their medication, they have the right to refuse. But at the same time, do they realize that by not taking their blood pressure medication, it might make them even worse, right? So
I can understand. Earlier, I referred to communication, but I'm glad we went in that direction because we got to cover a few things. But I guess I should have referred to technology.
So if you were to go on the Alzheimer's store, you can look and they've got all kinds of cool stuff out there. And one thing that I really like, and I'll probably use it myself later on in life, I could probably use one right now. It's a remote control, and all it has is the on-off button, the volume up and down, and it has 4 channels that are pre-programmed in there. So you really can't mess up this remote control, because you know how frustrating that is when we have our cognitive,
Oh,
how they feel.
you need a 7-day course just to figure out how to operate the remote. The remotes, plural.
Yeah, for sure. So these remote controls, I think they're like $70, but believe me, if it saves the aggravation and getting the person all upset because they've done something wrong or blaming you for doing something wrong, it's worth the $70, right?
Now again, this is for people that are a bit, maybe have in later stages, right? Because I
Well,
think
it could even be in the beginning stages if they don't remember, right? They start to forget.
Yeah, good point. I understand. Okay. I visited in preparing for the interview. I did a couple of visits on the net, and there was one reference I saw to is it Respite Care?
Oh, respite care. Yes.
Respite Care. Sorry, yeah, Respite Care,
Yes.
which is, if I understand correctly, it's a way to give caregivers a bit of a break.
Yes, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. So depending on what areas you live in, you'll have to probably contact your CLSC or maybe, I don't know if the Alzheimer's Society, I'll talk about that later. They have respite care. So respite care is for if your sister wants to fly down here and visit you, well, who's going to take care of mom, right? So, mom can go to a long-term care facility for at least a week, or if your sister would have to go and get a hip replacement for whatever, or a knee replacement, well, she's going to be in the hospital. Who's going to take care of mom? So there are centers that will take clients in for at least a week, so that the caregiver can either get a break or go for their surgery or get that vacation that they so need to keep things afloat. There's also day centers too. Let's say every Wednesday, maybe you get mom there, and while mom's at the day center playing bingo and interacting with different people, you can run around and get the groceries done, the banking done, and get your hair cut. It is so hard trying to get the little things done. You have to drag somebody around with you, and it slows down the process. Sometimes they wonder what we're doing here or there, and they don't want to go. So it just makes your running around a lot easier if you can just, one day a week, drop them off at the day center so that they can do activities while you get your stuff done. Because you know what, we all say that, we're not going to place our loved ones, but reality is, unless you really have the resources, taking care of these types of clients 24/7 is it's heavy. It's really heavy, and sometimes you need a break, because if you don't get a break, you're not going to be no help to them.
That's what they say. It's like being in a plane. You have to put your oxygen on before you can
Yeah.
help someone else.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
Sure.
well, Carol, we've kind of touched on a few things, and I know we could do probably 14 episodes on this. But just to kind of wind things up or wind things down, what are some of the resources we can direct people to if they want more information?
Okay, so there's, of course, the Alzheimer's Society. You can look that up on the web. You can voice your concerns to them also. Here in the Estrie, we have l'appui.org, and you can sign up for a newsletter that comes, and it has all kinds of cool stuff in here. This one here, it has little articles about preventing falls, what you can do to prevent falls. It has all kinds of interesting information. We have the caregiver support line that you can call if you need support. Sometimes things can get a little bit rough. And when saying that, if ever things get rough and the situation starts to incline, the aggressive starts or whatever, and you don't feel comfortable, just leave the house and call for help. All right. Don't stay in that situation, and don't try to make the situation better if it's only going to make it worse. Right. So, then, of course, if you need to talk, L'Appui is a good place to call, and their newsletters are very informative. It has a lot of interesting stuff in it. So you can find that on
both languages?
Yeah, the newsletter here that I get on a regular basis is in English. Okay. They do have different here. They have formations, but here they're all in French. Unfortunately, they're in Quaticook and Sherbrooke areas. So, but yeah, those are all in French, unfortunately.
Okay.
Yeah. There also is your CLSC also that you can contact to find out some of the information on where you could find the respite or day centers. I know the Townshippers are great too. Whenever I give little community courses, they usually bring along little pamphlets that they hand out to say where they can find these different respite care day centers in the area that I do the little workshops with. So they're very handy also. You can call the Townshippers and they might be able to help you out also.
Yeah, we all got all types of information at Townshippers. And this is part of this series. Is actually part of that, information distribution initiative. So, well, Carol Arbery, you're a licensed practical nurse, and you teach at Lennoxville Vocational Training Center in the Health Assistance and Nursing Care program. And I know we only just touched the tip of the iceberg today, but I'd like to thank you for taking the time to speak with us today. And hopefully we're setting people in the right direction and get all the information they need at those different locations and different resources.
Well, thank you for reaching out to me. It's a pleasure.
Well, you take care.
Okay. Thank you. You too.
Bye-bye. If you'd like some more information on Alzheimer's and other types of dementia, well, just take a look right down here below in the video description. We've listed a couple of really good sources for you. Thank you very much for spending a bit of your time with us today. Now, if you've enjoyed today's episode, or if you enjoyed the series, well, I invite you to click on that share and, of course, on the like button. And I invite you to subscribe to Townshippers Association's YouTube channel. My name is Ed Humphrey, and as usual, we're going to be back really soon with a brand new episode of About Townshippers. See you then.